If you absolutely love crazy messed up puzzle games, well, I completely have you covered here today. I am the Game Collector, and this is Second Opinion Games. And today I do the review of Trip D for the 3DO.
Second Opinion Games.
Okay, before we even get started in the main game here, I want to take you guys into the options menu, where there's something called Trip Dance. Now, Warp Interactive was known for some crazy stuff, and Trip Dance here is definitely highlighting that. See, Kenji Eno, the lead director of this game, was a bit of a musician, so he wanted to create something that musicians, or even people randomly fiddling about on a controller, can do to make music, and visual music. So, that's what you have here. As you press the buttons, things happen on the screen. Every button does a different thing. So, if you were a musician that has rhythm and a good beat, well then you would have to be able to create something that sounds really, really good and cool, and sometimes just really, really creepy. Really creepy. Now, this game was rated 12 and under. And it came out in a time where even a drop of blood on the screen would mean that it's for mature audiences only. So how did this game get passed? Well, it's a puzzle game on the 3DO. No one really looked that hard into it. And this is not the only time that this game pushes its limits of the 12 and under. Basically, every time there's a game over screen, you see something creepy, and creepier for no matter what you're playing in this game. And actually, it's quite a bit of the charm of the game on top of it. Now let's take a look at the one-player version of the game. This is all about points and combos here. If you have 4 of these little shapes that are alike, they'll blow apart. If you place 4 of the shapes alike in a certain way, creating like a little square box, you create a giant creature. Now, to kill the giant creature, you have to put 4 more blocks on top of him, or beside him, or underneath them, but not a combination of, which can get really confusing, especially because you have a very limited space on the screen. The borders look pretty cool here. It's a little trippy and out of this world, and I think that's what they were going for here. With some decent music in the background. Well, the music, all in all, is very good here, because Kenji Eno was a bit of a masterpiece. So the game, it plays pretty fun. Now, those big creatures are basically what it really comes down to here. All of them do something different, so you're going to have to look at the manual to figure out exactly what they do. And they do different things, depending if it's 1-player or 2-player. 2-player, you could kind of use them as weapons, which we'll get to in a little bit. Or 1-player here, it's mostly for clearing lines or points. Also, as you clear every level, things sort of drop off the bottom, which can actually crush some of your combos that you were setting up. So just keep that in mind. Now you know when a level's coming to an end, because the whole game starts moving faster and the music moves a little bit faster too. Also, as you reach the top of the screen, your music moves faster, so you might get kind of confused with that as well. But this is a good starting off point for the game, to get you a good feel of it and how it's played. I usually recommend playing the 2-player mode or playing against the computer when you really want to get into the meat and potatoes of this game. Now, playing against a friend is probably the main draw of this game. So creating those giant creatures on your screen is also the main gimmick of the game. Meaning, if you just string a bunch of random combos together without using one of those creatures, it's going to do nothing to the other player. So, get your practice on by playing against the computer. And there's lots of different people to face off against. You only see them at the main select your opponent screen, which starts off as an eyeball, and you can cycle through them. You have an activist, or a model, a punker, a religious man, a lawyer, a baby, which is, that's kind of neat. Why is there a baby, and why is he so hard to beat? You have a salaryman, which is a respectable position in Japan. A professor, very respectable. I think it's kind of weird how the activist is actually the lowest level of difficulty, even below the model. Probably trying to say that all those people that are activists really aren't that educated and don't even know what the heck they're doing. And that's kind of actually where I recommend you start playing this game, because it's going to take a lot to figure out the little minutia touches in this game. And you might not even have the time to learn all that, because you might have a huge freaking game collection and you're trying to work your way through them. Again, the backgrounds look creepy, the music is great, and the gameplay is tight and fast. So, just keep playing, and you'll get better and better. Before you know it, you'll be crushing your friends at this game. Now, when you actually defeat your opponent, it doesn't do anything special. It just keeps track of your wins and losses. So, there's no grand beating this game. It just sort of goes on forever. It's just for fun. Who would have thought it? A game that's just played for fun. No stress. Just unwinding and having a good time. Man, I could really use that every once in a while. It's weird, and I love playing games made by Warp because they're just original. And this game was only made by about 4 people. And in the instruction manual, it breaks down who they are and what their brothers and sisters and moms were like, which is kind of weird. You know, like how it says Kenjieno, his father was a ninja, or how another guy, his mom was a geisha, which is kind of a high-end prostitute, and he's really proud of his mom for this. Again, Japan's kind of weird. If you like puzzle games even a little bit and you happen to own a 3DO, you pretty much owe it to yourself to get this game. It's not really worth buying a 3DO just to play it, because there's lots of puzzle games out there, and you could have just as good as time with them. Maybe, in theory. A little bit. Overall, I think I'm going to stick with this one for quite some time, because it's a good way to de-stress at the end of the day. But that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. Please, I want you guys to keep on leaving me comments down below. I probably wouldn't have found this game if I wasn't already a huge fan of Warp games, so it's kind of a no-brainer for me to get it. And from the comments from you guys, the viewers, that told me I had to take a look at this one. So, of course, I ran out and got it right away. So, please let me know about other great games for the 3DO, and please just talk to me in general, because I'm sad and lonely and in a basement making YouTube videos for about 500 people. So, thanks again, guys.